So hello there, welcome to Damien's Trains and Travels and welcome to the video. And in this video I'll be taking a closer look at these models of Brum that I've got. And Brum was a live action TV series which featured a motor car that lived in the motoring museum where I've actually been to. And he used to go around the town and get up to adventures. And the first two series were produced in the 1990s. And then after that, the next series was produced in the early 2000s, so obviously called the noughties. And I wasn't as keen on that series as I was the first two series. However, there was an episode which featured a runaway train, and obviously for obvious reasons, as you probably know, I'm a railway enthusiast, so of course I quite like that episode. And although I'd say I wasn't as keen on the series produced after Series 2, they were definitely better than what Brum has become now. Brum is now CGI-animated. And when I was younger, there was lots of TV shows that I used to watch that were not CGI-animated. And I think as well, that was what made them so good. Obviously there were special effects with some of them, costumes and puppets, but I think that's what made them a lot more interesting. Whereas nowadays, I think everything's CGI animated and looks quite sort of cheap. And I say I wasn't as keen on Brum when it became CGI animated to start with. And now there's another CGI animated version they've made, which to me looks even worse because now Brum doesn't look anything like he does when he first originally appeared. And I've actually been to the Cotswold Motor Museum and seen the model of Brum. There's a photo of me here with it. And on one of the boxes that I've got here, on the side, is a photo of Brum with Mike Kavanagh. And Mike Kavanagh unfortunately passed away. He was the original owner, and he used to appear in all the when the TV was obviously made using live action. He appeared in every episode, and he usually appeared at the end as well. And he'd be picking out whatever was in Brum's back seat, which was usually whatever he'd got up to that day, putting it on the shelf. And he's not the only one. There's been a couple of other people, so Brett Davis and Rex Garrett, who were involved with like the special effects on the show. Unfortunately, they've passed away as well. So there's not many people left now, unfortunately, from the original show. But like I said, unfortunately, Brum has now become CGI animated. And as you know, obviously, when I was younger, I used to watch Thomas the Tank Engine, and that's become CGI animated as well. And I much prefer the model series of the show. Although I will say that in the CGI animated series, I think there's been a lot of shots and characters that probably wouldn't have been achieved as well if the show was made using models. However, I think the model series was good for what it was, and again there were some episodes with some, you know, quite exciting scenes that were achieved very well during the model series. So it can be done. It probably just takes a lot more hard work, but it can be done. But I think again that's what I appreciated about it. And as well, Rosie and Jim, who I mentioned earlier, unfortunately they ended up becoming CGI animated as well. And also so did the Teletubbies, that was again produced by Ragdoll Productions. So Ragdoll Productions produced Tots TV, Rosie and Jim, and the Teletubbies, and other shows I'm sure, if I haven't named them. But yeah, so anyway, going back onto these models, I do really like these models, and I've got one out of the box, and I originally thought this was a Corgi one. However, if you look underneath, you might be able to just about see above the logo where it says Brum underneath, it says Racing Champions. So this was produced by Racing Champions, and they've also produced Bob the Builder toys as well. But like I said, the other two that I've got are both produced by Corgi, and so one's in the box that shows the Cotswold Motoring Museum on it. I think that's my more favourite one. And then I've got another Corgi model of Brum, and it comes in a sort of packaging like the Thomas Ertl models used to come in. And I originally had a Corgi model of Brum when I was younger out of the box. I remember I was quite lucky really. I went to school one day and I saw another boy, I think he was a bit younger than me, a couple of years below me at school. This is at primary school, but he had a model of Brum. And I asked him where he got it from, and he got it from one of the shops in town. And I remember going home to my mum saying that I wanted one. And I suppose I was lucky when I was younger. My mum, I suppose, did spoil me in a way, but at the same time she taught me not to be greedy and to have respect and things like that as well. So anyway, she brought me one, and I was quite lucky, really. She used to treat me and buy me a lot of things, not just me, my young sister as well. But you know, at the same time, we had to do something. We had to be good at something, and you know, if we were good, we got given it as a treat as well. But obviously, we had birthdays and Christmas as well. We were very spoiled when I was younger, and I obviously really appreciate that. But anyway, she got me a model of Brum, and I don't have that model anymore because that model practically got destroyed. The wheels came off, the windscreen got damaged, and it pretty much looked like this model here. So obviously I've got this one out of the box. This is the Racing Champions one, and there's not a big difference really. However, if you look up from above, you'll see the inside. On the Corgi one, all the seats and the floor are red, whereas on the Racing Champions one, the floor's grey and the seats are red. And I think in some ways that's a little bit better, the fact they've got the floor grey and the seats red. You know, I just think it looks a little bit better personally. But apart from that, there's not really much difference between the two. I think they more or less look exactly the same size. The only other difference was as well is on the Corgi one, you could actually move the headlights, which are Brum's eyes, around and round, but you can't on the Racing Champions one. But I do think that's probably a good thing because, like I said, it was a very fragile model. Like I said, it's a little bit of a shame my other one got damaged, but it was well played with. And I mean, back then, I'd say toys were probably cheaper than what they are now in some ways. But then again, I've got lots of Ertl models that I've had for years, and obviously Thomas Tank and Woolen ones, and they're definitely well played with. And you know, they haven't lost wheels or anything. Although I have seen ones that people have tried to sell with bits missing and that. I mean, I did try and look after them, and Brum I tried to look after as well. But like I said, unfortunately, my model of Brum that I had fell apart. Bits are missing, so I agreed with my mum. There wasn't really much point in keeping it, so we got rid of it. And then I think it was probably about another 6-7 years later that I actually went and bought this one. I managed to get on eBay, and it wasn't cheap then, to be honest with you, in the box. And I'm going to keep this one in the box. And as you know, I keep lots of model items in the boxes as well. Cars and obviously trains, you know, from different TV programmes as a hobby. So like I said, I'll be keeping these ones in the box as well. And one that I actually got very recently, I probably won't do a review on it anyway, I'll probably just mention it in this video, was Budgie the helicopter. And funnily enough, I actually brought that this year from the Air Ambulance charity shop in Wellingborough, and unfortunately that shop has closed down now. However, there is actually another Air Ambulance charity shop in Wellingborough as well that's still open, but it's a slightly smaller one. The big one where I got it from used to sell furniture and then clothes and toys and DVDs and loads of other things, whereas this smaller one sells everything apart from furniture. So it's nice we've still got one. And you probably remember me as well saying in one of my other videos that I got this train set for £5 from there. And a lot of people were saying to me, oh, you should have paid more and all that sort of thing. What I probably didn't mention was that I do actually donate to them anyway, and gift aid as well. So I've done a fair amount for the charity anyway. And it was actually my dad that brought that for me, and obviously they were happy to sell it at £5, you know. So I got it. But yeah, I do like the model of Budgie. That was another TV show I used to watch when I was younger. You can see on the box all the other ones you can buy. Obviously these are quite hard to get now. And another thing that I actually got from that Air Ambulance charity shop was actually a remote control model of Brum, which I did speak about in a previous video as well. But anyway, moving on, I've obviously got the other one that's in a box as well, and this one's slightly different as well because it is Corgi, but you can probably just about see on the other ones, Brum's eyes are white with obviously black pupils, and it was the same in the other Corgi model, but this one's actually got them instead of white, painted yellow, which is probably maybe to represent that they're switched on, maybe, I don't know. And also on the box, on the illustration, it looks like that as well. And again, I do actually love the packaging on this box, and you know, if I was to choose between the two that are in boxes, what sort of packaging I like, I think they're both nice for different reasons. One obviously represents the Cotswold Motoring Museum, again, where I have actually been to and seen, where you can still go to and see the model of Brum. But it's not just Brum that there's lots of other interesting cars and that there too. And my video of that, I went in September 2015, so 8 years ago. But it's actually one of the most popular videos on my channel as well. Like I said, for me, that Brum was the most interesting one when it was made using models. And obviously, like I said, other shows that they produced, like the Teletubbies, that ended up becoming CGI animated. And you've probably seen this meme loads of times about the fact that the baby that was the son has now got a baby herself. Obviously, time has moved on since then. But I mean, CGI isn't all that bad, because obviously there's other films like Toy Story, which was produced in 1995, which was actually the first CGI animated film, and Monsters Inc. You know, they're both CGI animated. So it's not all bad. And like I said, I do think some characters are a lot more detailed than they would have been, like in Thomas the Tank Engine in the model series of the show. But I still preferred the model series of that as well. I think it just made it that bit more, had that bit more of a charm about it, personally. Another show that I used to enjoy watching was Bananas in Pyjamas, and that was made, you know, with people wearing costumes, and has now become CGI animated, which I think totally looks wrong. When I was younger as well, you may remember mentioning in the previous video, there was a Bananas in Pyjamas magazine, and the very, very last issue, I sent off a drawing to be in their page. I didn't know if it was going to get on there or not, because, you know, it's a bit like winning the lottery, really. But I actually managed to get my drawing published in their magazine, so that was quite sentimental. I've still got it as well. You can see here. But like I said, these are the models of Brums that I've got. So like I said, 2 in the box that are Corgi, and then 1 that's produced by Racing Champions. There's out of the box. But I intend to keep that one out of the box. I brought that one out of the box quite recently. Just for display purposes. And like I said, I do have obviously the Ertl ones like in the box as well, but I've got them out of the boxes as well. With the Thomas range, like I said, I just enjoy collecting them in general. But I would say as well, with these Brum models, they're a little bit different, because Brum was a lot more heavily weathered when he appeared in the live action series. And again, I wouldn't say the yellow was quite as shiny, as vibrant. Like I said, it was a little bit weathered in some places in the TV series when it was made using live action. But I'm not as keen on the weathering, so I'm sort of glad that they've kept him this way, to be honest with you. And grain detail all the way around, with like the registration plate, the wheels, and everything. Obviously, for this model being aimed at a more sort of say children's market, I do think the detail is absolutely superb. And obviously, if you're able to get yourself one, I recommend that you get one. I mean, I've been lucky; I've seen them in shops occasionally, in boxes, and mainly on the internet as well. But like I said, it is obviously I mentioned about the air ambulance earlier, and it's sort of sad that the big one of that closed down, but there is the smaller one still, and obviously Wilco closed down in Wellingborough yesterday, and that was a shop that I used to go to quite a lot as well. Obviously feel sorry for the staff as well that have lost their jobs. But unfortunately, I think it's just the way of the world with cost of living and things like that, unfortunately. And as you probably remember mentioning before, I brought a number of Mr. Men books in there as well, in Wilco, so it's a shame to see that one gone. Things unfortunately do change over time. But like I said, I do really like these models that I've got of Brum, and I do recommend, obviously you can visit the Cotswold Motoring Museum and you get these models if you can. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.